everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Kyra and I'm so excited because I'm finally ready to show you my journal, my bullet journal for the winter of 2023. I'm so excited. I've been working diligently on setting this up for a while. I started earlier than I usually do so I could really take my time, and so I didn't end up rushing in the last few days of December to set up for January. I actually finished right in time because normally when the sun moves from one sign to another is when I tend to start my work doing my setup for the following month, because this is how I work with my year ahead spread. I did a whole video on it because it's up above in the cards. Because I'm a witch, I'm a tarot reader, I'm an astrologer, yada yada. I finished just in time, and this is already set up. So I'm just going to talk with you about it, and I hope that's still interesting. The notebook I'm using is a B5 notebook therapy notebook. This is from their more recent release. It was around Halloween. Their Moonlit Alchemy collection just stole my heart. And so I reached out to them and they sent me this to review and to show with you, and it is stunning. This is the B5 Suki Moonlight Dusk limited edition bullet journal. I will link it down below in the description. I don't have a coupon, but it is absolutely stunning. It is a like linen cover, and of Notebook Therapy's covers, the linen is kind of my favorite for like how it stays nice. They have a faux suede cover, which is beautiful, feels really nice and soft, but it gets it holds dirt and is hard to clean. They also have really gorgeous velvety ones. If you check out my previous bullet journal videos, I've been using Notebook Therapy for a while now, ever since I tried B5, and I'm obsessed. And one of the big things is the shipping makes it accessible to me. I can't use some other companies that have the gorgeous witchy aesthetic of journals, because the shipping makes it so it is not financially accessible, because I go through multiple a year. You might have heard me say that this is mine for winter, and by that I mean the one thing I'm doing this year is I'm really setting up my journals, and this is going to be my journal for the first quarter of the year, which is winter where I live. So January, February, March, and then this journal is going to be done. It's going to be put away. And I'm doing that to give myself the space to really enjoy my practices, because journaling is my number one spiritual tool. So this is the Moonlit Dusk. It is stunning. It's like like mauvey, dusty rose kind of color. It's got that I don't know if the color's translating, but these are like coppery rose gold kind of thing. And then look at that. The pages are gilded, including with a design down the side. All Notebook Therapy journals come with 2 ribbons, a elastic to hold it closed. They come with a pocket in the back. I modify my pocket, which I'll show you. And they all come with their own little paper clip. And the one that came with this journal is this guy. So I have a little collection now. I have a little collection now of the paper clips from my various Notebook Therapy journals. So this is my 5th one. I do have another one that is as yet not used. I want to use it for fall, but I would need to get one for spring and then summer. So we'll see. So, and then I modify the pocket in the back. So it does normally look like this, and it's a pocket. What I do is I cut the pocket. I cut the pocket because I never put anything in it, because my journal lives at my house. And then I use the excess paper. I have a flap so that way I can do my pen test scribbles without it making a mess. And then it still looks nice and clean. And then the extra piece of paper that comes in this, I use in the beginning. There's always little quotes and stuff, and I really love that, like this one. We are all like stardust, shining bright in the darkness, giving warmth and bringing renewed hope like the dawn coming after every long night. At this moment, I know we are blessed by the universe. I love my notebook therapy notebooks. They hold up really well. The only recommendation I have for, like, the only thing of caution I have for them would be the same for any notebook. Because of the binding, the pages, sometimes, every so often, there will be pages that don't go all the way flat. And I have, in the past, not been careful. I was sketching out roughly how long this would, like how many pages it would be before I go to a new section. Like, it's pretty lay flat, but every so often, the glue in the binding, so you can see here, they're still attached, whereas here they're not. The glue in the binding causes an issue. So, and in the past, I didn't realize that if I reamed the pages apart, it would destroy the structural integrity of the book. So that's my only caution, but that would happen with any book with this kind of binding. So on those pages, it's hard because you have to kind of flatten them in a way that works without destroying the structural integrity. And that happens a lot too in the front and back pages of this. So I've been known sometimes to glue these pages together so that way I don't ream them apart and destroy my book, because I have had that happen with a journal. Anywho, I highly recommend the Notebook Therapy notebooks, especially if you like the really cool witchy aesthetic and shipping is an issue with some other companies, because shipping is expensive. Notebook Therapy, it's free shipping, like worldwide, I'm pretty sure. Anywho, or if it's not free, it's extremely cheap shipping. So, let's crack in. Let me just grab a book to hold this up. This is also something I've been doing. I've been using a book to hold this up, so that way I can actually work. I don't know if I've ever been as proud as I am of this beginning intro page. So this is what I did with the other part. The paper that when you cut open this flap, you get an extra sheet of paper, and I use it here to cover the nameplate. Because like I said, I work from home. My notebook stays at home. I don't need a nameplate. I would rather use the page. So I cut the extra sheet of paper to fit in it. This is my dedication page to my cards of the year and my word of the year. Numerologically, I'm entering a death card year, and the death card further reduced down in numerology to the Emperor, which is interesting because the Emperor associates with Aries, and Aries is my Sun, Midheaven, and Mercury sign. So first I decided I wanted to do a death head moth, and because I feel like it really captures the energy. And my word of the year I'm moving into is sovereign. The definition of it: acting or done independently and without outside interference. The idea that I can make my life however the hell I want it, and I don't need to answer to anybody to create my life. And that's something I really need more of. So I decided to go with butterflies, well, moths. Moths and butterflies for their symbol of rebirth and death, how they go through this metamorphosis period. I couldn't not include a snake. Snakes, they shed skin. It's also very good for death imagery. And I knew I wanted something else, and I wasn't sure what, and fireflies just seemed right. Fireflies seem to me to like represent the magic. It's a thing that bioluminescence is this thing that seems impossible, and all of a sudden there's this bright light shining on you, giving you magic, showing you the magic in the world. It's fabulous. So I wanted to include that. At the top and the bottom here, I have the quote or the affirmation from the Gentle Tarot Guidebook, the expanded one, for the Death card, because this guidebook is perfection to me. So it says, I embrace my most true self. I leave behind what no longer serves me. And there it is there. So that's where I got that. So that's, and this is written by Maritza Rice Aparicio Tovar. I'm so sorry, Mari, if I'm not saying that right. And then around the outside here, I have written a poem for the Queen of Wands from the Tarot of the She. I'm really working with embodying my inner Queen of Wands archetype. I naturally view it as a signifier, and because it's a queen and the queens are water and the wands are fire, I do think it is a significator card. I do think it is an energy I naturally tend towards, but I also tend to shy away from it due to trauma and all sorts of other bullshit. So, and there's been this eternal debate in my house of whether or not I am more Queen of Wands or more Queen of Cups. And then one day we sat down to do this exercise. And we pulled out all the quartz from the Tarot of the She, because the Tarot of the She has little poems. And when I read the one in the Queen, for the Queen of Wands, or the Warrior Queen in Tarot of the She, it hit me in my soul. And so it says, it starts here. She is the storm upon the sea, the flaming blood of sovereignty, kin to raven, rook, and crow. All you are is hers to know. Not only did I feel that, not only do I think that I understand that on an intrinsic level, it also connects to my word of the year. So I feel like this is my time to really do this personal transformation work. And so I wrote it around the outside on the border. I love how this looks. This is easily like my favorite. And then I wanted to do a dedication to winter. This is the first year where I'm really leaning into working with my books, intentionally working with them for only 3 months. And I'm doing this for multiple reasons. One, there's the factor of by working with this book only for 3 months, I have 176 pages. After my front matter, I have at least 50 pages for each month. That's a lot of room for me to play and journal. So that way I can do tarot readings. I can write about rituals. I can do all my witchy journaling in one space without worrying. 2, I am really working on developing my seasonal practice. And for me, it is incredibly connected to the 4 seasons of at least the land I live in. So I really wanted to do a dedication to winter. And you can see too, I started talking about some of this stuff. This is my current journal. When I talked about this, I'll link the video where I talked about this up above in the cards. A video, I am going to be talking more about this, and a video of this is coming. I filmed it before I finished the setup, and it'll be coming probably later this week. But I really am leaning into my personal seasonal alignment, and in astrology terms, because as I said, I am a professional astrologer. You can check out my services in the description box. Send me an email if you get confused about my website, because websiting is hard for my neurodivergent brain. I have a lot in the cardinal signs. I'm an Aries, Sun, and Mercury sign. I'm a Cancer rising. My moon is in Libra, and I have my north node in Capricorn. I have something in every single cardinal sign. I'm extremely cardinal. My big 3 are in the cardinal signs. So that to me really shows this seasonal alignment. So I really started working with that. And that's one of the things when I was setting up was really important to me, was looking at building this seasonally. So I wanted to have a dedication, and this is my dedication to winter. I found a quote: "Winter knows to hush, still, listen, so the soul can speak." That quote is by Angie Wayland Crosby. And then the only other writing I have down here. I always have a little reference to how many boxes go up and down the page and across. And then we have just the elements of the drawing. I decided to draw the moth and the chrysalis, and then I'm thinking in the spring one, it will be hatching. It will have hatched and will be like drying its wings. And then in the summer one, it'll be flying off. And then in the fall one, it will be like slowing down again, going to ground kind of thing. Anyways, I'm planning on doing a seat drawing like to represent the cycle of the moth in my journals. And then here, I really wanted to have this snake, and I wanted this snake to be like, the snake is hushed, it is still, it is listening, and it is through the light of the firefly, as it stills itself, as it dreams, it is gaining spiritual insight. So I really wanted to have that. And then we have my first spread. So I decided to do, and I'm going to do a video specifically about like my tarot cycles, my tarot cycle practices, which are things I've been developing. One of them, though, is the Circle of Self-Care spread. This also came from that extended guidebook from the Gentle Tarot. I'm telling you, if you like the Gentle Tarot, that book is priceless. Honestly, that book is priceless even without the Gentle Tarot. It's such self-care vibes, and it's that book. I use that book all the time. I use it for my daily card, even when I'm not using the Gentle Tarot. I constantly am using that. Anywho, so I have my Circle of Self-Care spread, and my plan is to do this every quarter as a overall check-in. The positions are physical, psychological, emotional, social, professional, environmental, spiritual, financial, and then the center is the darkness. So the idea is you get a good overview of how you're doing, what you need to take care of yourself in all the areas of your life. And then I'm doing this as a check-in every quarter. So I've got that here. Next, we have my 2023 cards. So I did this, I finished this and talked about this in my year ahead spread video. You can check that out above in the cards. I think I already mentioned that would be there. So it's there. Go look at it. This is my year ahead spread that I developed. So in each box, above each box, I have the date and what sign the majority of the month is. January starts in Capricorn season and is there, give or take, except the last 10-ish days. So I have that along the top, and it goes winter, spring, summer, fall. That's my only qualm. Next time it'll go winter, spring, summer, fall, because that's how I lay out my cards. The first 6, then the bottom. Anywho. The bottom is the card I pulled. In the box is the affirmation associated with each card from that Gentle Tarot Extended Guidebook again. And then at the bottom, I wrote my predictions based on the cards for what I think the quarters of the year as a quarter will be like. So I did that. And then we have my sky weather. I am so excited to have this. I'm really loving putting charts in my journal. It's like my favorite new thing. I've started doing it a bunch. So look. So I've got, this was my first one. Chart. Here's a chart for, this was for the Sagittarius new moon. And then I did, where's my next one? Where are you hiding? I know you're in here. Where'd you go? Where'd you go, chart? This is for the Gemini full moon. And then I just did the one for my moon return. I did this work, a lot of it with my channel members, with my planner peeps. You can check out my channel membership in the description box below or by clicking the join button. So I did this here. If you're interested to hear me talk about my moon return work, that's something I would consider doing once I feel more solid in it. So let me know. But I'm loving putting charts in here. So this is my chart. This is my birth chart. Because I wanted to have it to reference when talking about the sky weather. And this is specifically the winter sky weather. The idea of this journal is it's just winter stuff. The only thing that gets like the whole overview is the year ahead spread, just because that's just how I like to do it. So this is my winter sky weather. So I used my Honeycomb Co., which I did a review video of. If I have room in the cards, I'll link it. And I wrote down all the ingresses for the quarter, for the entirety of the winter, for January, February, March. And ingresses are when a planet moves into a new sign. So I wrote all of those. I wrote my moon returns. Moon returns are when the moon in the sky lines up with the moon in your chart. So for me, when the moon reaches 13 degrees, 44 arc minutes of Libra, I have a moon return, which you just saw like that page of my work with it. And then I wrote have all the lunations, and that's the full moons and new moons. And I have written a little number of what house it is for me. And then here we have the stations. And the stations are when a planet stops or begins a retrograde. So Mars will be stationing direct on January 12th. Oh my God, I cannot wait for that. And then beside it, I wrote the whole period of this Mars transit. This Mars in Gemini transit went from August 20th and is going until March 25th. It's stationed retrograde on October 30th. It's stationing direct January 12th. So I wrote the overview. So you have the glyph of the planet being talked about, and then a little glyph of the sign it's in. There you go. The date that, and then SD means it's stationing direct. So to us visually, it will look like it is slowing down and it has stopped moving before it looks like it's moving forward again. And that's at January 12th. Mercury is going to be stationing direct on January 18th, and Uranus is going to be stationing direct on January 22nd. So I wrote those. And then this is for me to journal about what I think this is going to mean for me personally based on my chart. So that's my sky weather. And then we have there we go, all lined up. You can see my teacup handle. My cosmic life goals. So I actually did a video which is coming out. I think it's going to be my Friday video, which will work well because then I don't have to film again this week, because this week's kind of chaotic because it's almost Christmas. Anywho, this is the upgraded version of this. And this I started doing all year for 2022. I've been trying to work on planning and goal setting based on my astrology and based on the houses. So looking at each month dedicated to an area of my life. And I love it. And I've been doing it in various ways. I have a playlist, I think, still. I'll try and link it. So this was the first thing of that. And by the way, just quickly, if you're returning, I did also do in this journal, you might see, I did this spread for my wheel of the year, really trying to develop my wheel of the year. And once I created this, I haven't really used it. And what's happening, so what I did here was I lined up my chart, it like in the house order. I lined it up with where the pagan wheel of the year holidays are, and I put the moons. Since I did this, my goodness, I really feel like I've been finding my rhythm with what types of things work for me. And I know I've said that a lot this year, but man, so I set this up, and then I set this up, and as soon as I set this up, I was like, I wish I could combine the two. So when it came to setting up, I didn't actually feel like combining the two, because I'm trying to let my practice organically grow and develop. One of the things that's really helping me is using the moon as a reference point to help me determine how the energy feels. So that's why I have the moons around here. I spent some time and reflecting, and based on my chart, I looked to see where I feel like the moon phases would take place. And this is based on previous moon work I've done. Again, I've got a video on that. I'll try and link it up above or in the description. If I've forgotten a link and you're interested, please let me know in the comments and I'll try to fix it. So in the winter, I focus on quieting work. Any kind of work that brings me quieting, which is partly why I picked this quote. And in the spring, I'm looking at visioning as my overall energy for the spring. Summer is acting, fall is resetting, getting ready to go quiet again. And the energies line up to me in like winter begins and it's like a new moon energy, which also makes sense because the new year, right? And the new moon energy, the new year, the new moon for me is about receiving messages, like receiving guidance of the path I'm on. And based on that guidance, I choose, like based on the messages I've been receiving, the signs I've been working with, all these things that have been coming up through the fall and through the beginning here, based on that, I'm quieting, I'm listening, and I'm setting myself up to do work from those messages, based on those messages of what's important. So I'm always kind of receiving messages, but it really seems to I look at winter as the time to be still and be quiet so I can listen. Hush, still, listen so the soul can speak. And so the new moon, because it's about receiving guidance and messages, I lined that up with my 7th house, which is Capricorn, which happens to be the cardinal sign of winter, the beginning of winter, at least in this hemisphere. It's my 7th house of one-on-one relationships. Then the next 2 months, so the next 2 months are lined up with the waxing moon, the energy of the waxing moon, where I'm clarifying the messages. So the entirety of the winter is about quieting and listening and receiving guidance. Then I go into spring, which is about planning, visioning. And then I go into summer. I could talk about this for hours. So if you're interested in a dedicated video to this, and I talked about it more in a video that is coming up where I did some of this work. This was not filled in. So when I did that video, I filled in each box of the month. I looked at this, how I was feeling about each section of my life. I looked at and I looked at my year ahead spread cards, and I came up with what I'm currently feeling like are the things I'm going to be working on. So for January, I wrote shadow work with the emotional self and how it affects other relationships. February, I wrote connecting to divine source / mystery. March, I wrote finalize the work going forward this year. Those are what I think. With those in mind, I'm moving forward, looking at how I want to plan these things. And I'm just kind of spiraling ever inward to get more and more details. So I did that for all the months. And then in here, I have place to write actual goals for each area of my life. As you can see, I have filled some in. I haven't for others. So, for example, I wrote down 9th house of spirit and study. I wrote down the alchemical tarot in the big book, a year in the wildwood, with wild wisdom, tarot for yourself, astro study, tarot goals. I'll talk more about those in a tarot goals video coming up. But so I wrote some goals. Next, we have my year in tarot spread. I've been tracking my tarot for a long time. And recently I started tracking like all my pulls. And I've been trying to do that throughout the year. And then I got the idea to just do tallies, and it makes a lot of sense. So I've got up here a tracker for me to write down my daily cards. And then a tally tracker for the majors, the cups, the pence, the swords, and the wands. Lots of space for each mark. And then I have a blank space here so I can write notes throughout the months I'm in this journal. I like to do this to find patterns, to find stalker cards, to look at things that are just interesting or weird. Sometimes there's a month where all of my daily cards will be water, or I will have no water for an entire month. I love seeing the trends and the patterns that come out when you record your tarot reading and your tarot pulls. So I've got that. And then we have my trackers. I've been doing yearly trackers for a long time. I love them. Admittedly, this year is the first time I really started to struggle with them. And I think that was because of some of the things I was doing. So I have actually updated this. First, I've updated it to use a new system. This was an idea that my wife got with her neurologist. They recommended for her migraines, we move to a stoplight system. A blank square is no headache at all. A yellow square is like, there's a bit of a twinge, but she's good. That's a green square, sorry. A yellow square is, it's slowing her down. And a red square is a full stop. And I really love the stoplight system for yearly tracking. So what I have is, I have my sex and cycle tracker, which I always use. It's where I record sex because I think it's funny, and where I record my premenstrual cycle. And then the migraine tracker for my wife. After that, I picked 3 year-long goals I want to work on. Taking care of my teeth. And all of these, I'm going to use the stoplight system. So taking care of my teeth, I will use yellow, green, yellow, red. Then I wrote the 7 minutes. This is a little exercise app. I really want to move more in my body. I feel better when I do. And then I have no yelling. And then what I decided to do was I decided to pick 3 smaller goals for the quarter based on my circle of self-care. So based on the interpretation and what I was feeling was important here, I picked 3 goals. This shouldn't be tarot for yourself. I'm going to tarot for yourself is a yearly thing. I'm gonna scribble. I had written daily stillness and silence. That one I still want to keep. And And then I'd written daily journaling. That one seems good for really getting in touch with myself, getting in touch with messages, processing, although I'm not 100% sure. In the middle, I had written tarot for yourself, but that's not just, I'm not planning to do the tarot for yourself just through the winter. So I don't know what I was thinking there. And actually, that I can include in my next spread. So that's no big deal. I'm going to think of something for this. I might change the daily journaling one. I don't know. We'll see. But the point is that these 3 trackers are for me to pick 3 goals that I want to track just for the quarter based on the wheel of my circle of self-care. This is way I'm bringing action more to my readings. Okay. So, but here I have a goals hub thing. On this side, it's for my son. On this side, it is for me. I am trying to work. So I asked my son, he's 8, what types of things he wants more of in life, big categories, so I could come up with goals. And he picked love, fun, and food. So we have up here is a little tracker for, he wants to have special days of the week. This is one of the goals to support fun in his day-to-day life. Like he wants to do Science Saturday. So we have to, as a family, go through and decide what we're doing on the days. It might also be like Witchy Wednesday, not Taco Tuesday, but like those kinds of theming. And then on this side, I have a number for each, for how many Mondays there are, for how many days of the week there are in the quarter. So there's 13 Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays and Sundays. There's 12 Saturdays in the first quarter. And so I can do a little check mark or something to mark those off. Up here, we're working on getting him a set dinner time. We chose, while raising him up to this point, to not do set meal times because we really wanted him to develop a mindful relationship with his body and his hunger cues and food. So, but now he's come to the point where he's 8 and he has decided for himself he wants more structured food times at home. He thinks he would find that helpful. And he's got that solid, mindful, body connected relationship with food that I wanted him to have. Like he doesn't overeat. When he's full, he just stops eating. He's very in tune with when he's hungry and when he's full. And that was what I wanted. So that's the dinner time one. Here, we also want to work on increasing the variety of foods he eats. So I'm just going to write some check mark, like task goals here. And we also want to work on the food independence, like getting him making his own food, teaching him how to cook certain things. So this is all the food ones. Then over here, we have the fun ones. What is this one? I forgot to label this one. Hold on 1 second. We're going to do some research. This is what happens when you don't label your shit. I have it in here somewhere. Oh, yeah. Wait. Special days. Those are all there. The special days are there. I truly do not remember what I put this here for. Like, this is clearly a daily tracker. So there was something daily. But I can't remember. I'm going to leave that because I'm just unsure. The other thing he wanted to do for fun was we've been doing in December, we've been doing family adventures where in prepping for December, we sat down as a family and we came up with a list. There it is, of things we would like to do in the month of December. And as you can see, we've been filling it out. We still have a lot we want to do, but we're about to be on Christmas break, so that will be a lot easier. And we've already started working on the Santa Claus Mayhem. We've watched all 3 Santa Claus movies. Now we just have to watch the show. And so he wants to keep doing this. So I didn't represent it here because each month that's going to be a spread. So you'll see that in January. And then for the love, really he just wanted snuggles. He's a very snuggly, touchy kid. So we have daily snuggles. So we've got one for January, February, March, and we've determined morning, afternoon, and evening snuggles are going to be a good way to go. So the idea is just spending a few minutes in the morning, after school, when he gets home, or in the afternoon, and then before bed, where we're just having a good family snuggle. So that's that. And then on this side are my goals. This is where I'm going to put the tarot for yourself, I think, as well, because I don't know why I put it in the trackers, because that's not just for the quarter, that's for the whole year. And this is based on some more goals and stuff I'm really wanting to do this year. And I'm thinking about doing videos talking about these. So here I've got piano. I want to play piano more. I've got trackers for each month, daily trackers, so that way I can, I played piano every day. And then I've got a space where I can write specific things, like if I want to do the exercises, if I've got goal tasks. Make sure I'm not blurry. Same setup here for singing. And then I've got a blank space here for the year in the Wildwood. More to come talking about that for my channel soon. And then at the top, I have purchase priorities. I'm really trying to change my relationship with spending, because I'm not so good with it. So I have purchase priorities. I'm going to talk more about that in another video, I think. And then here I have the books I want to read for the year. I left this blank because I didn't have my Year in the Wildwood book. It hadn't arrived yet when I got this. So I'm probably going to split this in half and put Tarot for Yourself and just list the chapters so I can just tick off where I get to. And this is for the whole quarter. I left a spread blank because I want to do a Saturn and Mars reading, because I'm finishing my Saturn return and my Mars return at the same time. And these have both been significant periods of time that have happened to line up, and it's a whole thing. So I left this blank because I'm not ready to do that yet. So I'm going to be doing that though. And then here I have just a get it done eventually list. I like to, with this size page, I like to split the pages in half so I can write lots of stuff. And this is just a place for me to brain dump and try and get all the stuff out of my head that just sits there, all these little ideas. So I do have a few so far, and I haven't actively tried to brain dump it yet. So I have fixing Cameron's Rubik's Cube, buying super glue, getting a card stand, checking my markers for dryness, fixing, there's a couple stuffies in our house that need to be fixed. They need to be sewed a little bit. So that's what I've got so far, but that's what this page is for. Just for me to write down all the random little shit that I want to get done that maybe I'm not ready to say, no, I'm not going to do this, and I'm not ready to do it yet. So that's what this is. And that's it. As I wrote January here because that's where I'm intending to start January on page 23. It's nice. I wanted to keep my front matter pages within 26 pages because there's 176 pages in the Notebook Therapy B5s. And the paper is nice and thick. It's 160 GSM, I believe. So it's great. It's cardy. You can do cutouts really easy with it. There's lots you can do. But if I kept the front matter to 26 or under, if I kept it to 26, then I would have 50 pages for each month. I've kept it to under 26. I really don't want to have to worry throughout these 3 months that I'm going to run out of space. I want to be able to just journal. I want to be able to journal realistically. So I don't want to make a page that I only need 1 page for, take up 2 pages. That's pointless. I don't want things to take up more space than they need to just because there's space there. I want to be able, though, with my journaling, which is easily the most important part of my practice, I want it to have the space that it deserves and that is beneficial for me for it to have. So condensing where I can and where is appropriate and giving myself space when I need to. Like this didn't need to be more than 2 pages. I was overcomplicating it. There's lots of stuff, but I love my journal so much. And I'm so excited to start it in the new year. And I hope you enjoyed hearing me talk about it. And I hope it gave some ideas or something fun to your life. Let me know in the comments down below. Are you all set up with your journal? Do you have one? Do you have multiple? Do you have planners? I'd love to talk just journally, plannery things with you down in the comment section. So hope to see you there. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up to let me know if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already so you can come on back, hit the bell notification, all of this fun stuff. In the description box below, you will find a link to my website. As I've said, I'm a professional tarot reader and astrologer, and my favorite thing to do, what I specialize in, is combining the two to create really unique reading experiences for my clients, and I love it. I love my work. You can also find out a link to check out my channel membership here on YouTube. There's lots of fun stuff. I have a journaling, a planner tier. I have an astrology specific tier. I have a witchy tier. I love my job. I love what I do. So you can check that out. There might also be a join button beside the subscribe button. Anywho. And in the new year with my astrology, with my Astro Allies, we're starting teaching. I'm going to be teaching my Astro Allies astrology from the ground up the way I like to teach. Not specific to anyone's chart, but talking generic information. So if that's interesting with you, check that out. And this is where I'm going to let you go. If there's anything here you saw that you would like more information on, please let me know, and I would be happy to address that the best I feel I can. But I'm going to let you go here, and I will see you again very soon. Lots of love. Bye.